Because we're going to talk now to Gareth Cunningham, Director of Conservation and Policy at the Marine Conservation Society. They've got some analysis of Environment Agency data from the Lib Dems, which shows that the extent of sewage spills polluting British seas and rivers is still as horrendous as it's ever been. The worst spill was from South West Water, which reported spilling sewage from one outlet in Salcombe for 366 days. And you might say, hang on a minute, that's one day more than normal for a year. No, it was a leap year, 2024. So, all you smart asses out there, 366 days that year. Let's have a word, see what's going on. Gareth, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
I mean, this is about as depressing a story as I've seen today, and I've seen quite a few, to be honest. When is this ever going to end? It doesn't seem to be anything that anybody can do about it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, the numbers that have been released show that although it's gone down slightly, as you've shown with the maths, there's an extra day in the year. Yeah. It's really bad. We've assessed something around the region of 3 million hours of sewage going into the sea.
3 million hours?
3 million.
Is that in a year?
In a year.
That's hard to imagine, isn't it? And I mean,
yeah, it is.
I mean, the age-old question. I mean, we presumably the Environment Agency fines these water companies. They pay the fine. We know the story. They don't want to, change the systems. I mean, I think you and I spoke last year, and down in Bexhill, where there was one of the really bad spillages, they have actually put a new pipe in, because I go there with my dog on a fairly regular basis. So they've done something there. I don't know if that's made any difference to that particular outlet, but I mean, if more of these water companies did that, would that help?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The infrastructure we're using just isn't up to the job in hand.
Yeah.
A lot of it's old. We're obviously having a lot more rain. And what we've got in the UK is combined systems. So the combined takes all that rainwater and flushes it down the same system where your sewage goes. That's a combined sewage overflow. So when we get really heavy rainfall, sewage system can't contain that. It floods out and that ends up in our sea.
Right.
So investment in new materials, new infrastructure is the only way we're going to address this.
Yeah. But then yet we've got people like Thames Water basically being declared bankrupt, because I can't imagine how. I mean, I still fail to understand how you can run a company that operates on a sort of a natural resource that falls for free from the sky, and you get to sell it on to somebody, but you can't make any money doing it. I mean, it sort of doesn't compute in my head.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk to their business model, but clearly, as the Lib Dems have said, what we're seeing is payment for bonuses. You and me wouldn't get a bonus if we weren't doing our job properly. No. What we need to see is that money going into the infrastructure, not into people's pockets.
Yes. And how can that then be made to happen? Because it seems like people have tried, and government maybe haven't tried hard enough, but whatever we're doing, it's not working.
Yeah, I mean, the government has brought in some new measures. So there's an independent water commissioner who's meant to be making recommendations this summer. And that includes looking at the powers of Ofwat, bringing in, more mechanisms to claw back that money and put it into infrastructure. But it hasn't happened yet. So we do need to see these things happen at pace. And when that report comes out, I hope the government acts on it really swiftly.
I mean, could there not be a better sort of scientific solution? I mean, we know there are sewage treatment plants. I mean, are they not capable of dealing with all the sewage? Is that the problem?
I mean, it's not so much, as I say, it's not so much just the sewage system. It's the fact that we combine it with the overflow. So every time it rains, it goes into the same system.
Right.
So there are ways we can address that. But it's not just the sewage, unfortunately, that's coming out here. It's all the other runoff. So all the litter that's on the streets, little bits of microplastics and forever chemicals are going down there too. And in fairness to the water companies, it's not on them to pick up litter. It's not on them to address that. So there does need to be some changes from the councils and also the companies that are producing these products in the first place.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you're still talking about raw sewage going into the sea, though. I mean, if it was treated sewage, it wouldn't be so bad, would it?
I mean, that's a good question. Treated sewage is less bad. Let's be clear. It takes a lot of the viruses out, but it's still an awful lot of nutrients going to the sea. So that's not really any good for the environment. If you've got a mussel farm or a shellfish farm, that's not good for you either. And, it's not very pleasant to swim in. So clean sewage or not, let's be honest, you don't want to be swimming in that. So let's try and sort that out.
Well, where else can you put it, though?
Well, there's a lot we can do with raw sewage. You can put it into an anaerobic digester. You can use it to power clean energy. And let's be honest, that's an endless supply of energy. Everyone uses the toilet every day. Exactly. Yeah. So there are things we can do there.
Can we give that responsibility to Ed Miliband? It seems like a good use of his time.
I'm sure you could ask him, yes.
I mean, he's always saying we want renewable energy. Well, there you go. Here it is, right on a plate for you, Ed.
Exactly, and it's been done in other nations across the other side of the English Channel, so
Right. Yeah,
it
well,
is
I've
feasible.
always had my doubts about the French. Well, listen, but surely to heavens they've got to be able to buy. But it's a bit like the crisis in the NHS every winter. You know, every year I could probably get you on from now until Kingdom Come, and we'd have the same conversation.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. This was one of the manifesto actions, wasn't it? We had this as one of the top line issues to be addressed during the election. It's not succeeded yet. That really needs to change. There needs to be a massive overhaul of the system, and we need to make sure that when we put in place the mechanisms to stop this happening, they're
Yeah, I
followed.
mean, would you swim in the sea around Britain? Would you let your dog go in the sea?
So I do swim in the sea around Britain.
Yeah.
You can get apps that tell you when it's safe to, but let's be honest, that's not great. You want to go out when the weather's good or the tides are right.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to then think,
Well, I
oh,
mean, it's going to be
cleaning
nice
them.
this weekend. It's going to be 24, 25 degrees today, I think.
Exactly. I mean, fortunately, we've not had an awful lot of rainfall, so the sea should be pretty clean. But
Just get.
that's not great, is it?
Snorkel and flippers. I suppose you'll be all right. Gareth, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Gareth Cunningham, Director of Conservation and Policy at the Marine Conservation Society. It must be something we can do. I think it's a job for Ed Miliband, definitely. Power your wind farm with some sewage. Perfect combination for Ed Miliband, surely.